There's trending, and then there's meltdown mode. These 13 handguns didn't just spark interest, they took over the internet in 2025. Forums blew up, comment sections turned into war zones, every gun group, every YouTube comment thread, these pistols were all over it. Some were praised like legends, others dragged through the dirt. But no matter which side you're on, one thing's certain. These guns dominated the online world this year, and the loudest voices weren't always the one who actually owned them. This isn't about the most reliable or best value pistols. This is about impact, the kind that hijacks algorithms, splits communities, and gets people arguing deep into the night. And you probably already have an opinion on every one of them. So let's walk into the fire and break down the 13 handguns that broke the internet in 2025. The funny thing about the P10C is half the shooters I know don't even bring it up until you hand it to them. I remember a Glock guy at the range once snorting, "Never even heard of that thing, Steve." He squeezed off a mag, holstered it slow, and muttered, "Damn, that's smoother than I'd figured." He didn't say much after, but I caught him looking it up on his phone later. That's the P10 story. It doesn't have the flashy race gun rep like CZ Shadows, and it sure ain't got the aftermarket circuit Glock's got. Critics love to hammer that point. Where's the holsters, the slides, the trigger kits? Fans just shrug and say it don't need them. Out of the box, it already runs clean, points natural, and packs a trigger most strikers would kill for. It's the kind of pistol that lives in the shadows, the best kept secret in a world full of louder names. Folks who own one defend it like kin. Folks who don't usually ain't even touched one. But once you do, the conversation changes. And if you think that's a quiet underdog, wait till we talk about a slimline Glock that people won't quit fighting over. Folks line up the second these pistols come up, and the split usually starts with where you use them. On the range, hardly anyone's got a bad word. The trigger's clean, the slide cycles like it's on glass, and the grip feels like it was carved to fit. Every new shooter I've handed one to grins after the first mag. The VP9 shoots flat, points natural, and leaves folks thinking they just handled German engineering done right. But when the talk shifts to carry, that's when the fight breaks out. The full-size VP9 is bulky, heavier than what some want on a belt all day, and for what it costs, critics argue you might as well buy a Glock or a SIG that hides easier. Even fans admit it takes effort to make it a daily companion. And then there's the VP9SK, HK's answer to folks who wanted that same feel in a smaller frame. And that stirred a whole new round of arguments. Fans say it's exactly what they needed. A true HK you can actually conceal. Skeptics say it gives off the best parts of the original, losing the balance and shootability that made the Big Brother special. Range shooters still brag, carry folks still grumble, and the debate just won't die. Every year, a pistol turns into a meme, and in 2025, it was this one. The first time I saw it get roasted, some kid on the line leaned over and whispered, "Looks like a stapler with a trigger," and the whole bench about fell over laughing. That joke spread faster than wildfire online, and the APX A1 Carry's been the butt of it ever since. But here's the kicker. The folks who actually bought one ain't laughing. They'll tell you it disappears easy under a t-shirt, points natural, and shoots smoother than the jokes make it sound. Sure, you'll pay more than you feel you should for something everybody calls ugly, but Beretta didn't make it for Instagram, they made it to work. I watched one fella drag his through a summer of daily carry, sweat, dust, pocket lint, and it just kept on banging. Didn't win any beauty contests, but it never quit. And that's why it's still talked about. So people can laugh, meme, or mock all they want. The APX carry just keeps showing up. And if you think ugly guns stir debate, wait till you see what happens when Taurus throws their hat in the Micro 9 fight. If there's one pistol that took over every damn conversation in 2025, it's this one. The X Macro Tacops has been on more blogs, more range counters, and more diner tables than anything else. And no surprise, SIG knows how to stir a market. Some folks grin and call it the carry king. Others roll their eyes and mutter, SIG's just milking that cow dry. That's the gripe. Every time you blink, there's a new flavor of 365. XL, SES, Spectre, and now X Macro Tacops. Fans say it's innovation, slim frame, full capacity, extended controls, optics ready right out of the box. Critics bark it's just another way to charge folks more for the same gun in a different suit. And you can't ignore the size fight either. Is it still a concealed carry pistol or just a skinny duty gun wearing a clever name? I've seen Glock guys sneer, shoot one, then leave looking rattled because it ran smoother than they wanted to admit. I've also seen buyers walk away frowning, saying the sticker didn't match the hype. But no matter which side you sit on, you can't deny this. The X Macro Tacops was the loudest pistol of 2025. Steve, you really trust a Taurus? That's the first thing I hear every damn time this pistol comes up, and I get it. For years, Taurus was the butt of every reliability joke from here to Amarillo. Folks swore they'd never hang their life on one. But the GX4, that's where the debate lit up. On one side, you got shooters nodding slow, saying, "About time Taurus made something that don't choke." They'll brag it runs clean, feels solid, and hides easier than a rattler in tall grass. Then you got the old guard leaning back, spitting, "Don't matter how good it feels, cheap is still cheap. You trust it with plinking? Fine. But trusting it with your hide? Not me." That's the split right there. Comfort and cost on one side, confidence and trust on the other, and the argument's still kicking hotter than a branding fire. I've watched GX4s run steady for hundreds of rounds, and I've watched others cough in the first box. Makes for one hell of a conversation, and that's why it won't leave the spotlight. And if that's fierce, just wait till we step into a pistol folks call the most comfortable carry gun out there. The first words out of most folks' mouths when this pistol comes up ain't about how it shoots, it's about what it costs. Some shake their heads and say, "Why drop that kind of cash when a Glock or a SIG will do the same job?" Others grin and tell you straight, you're buying more than a name, you're buying pedigree. And that's the pull of the effing 509 Compact MRD. It feels like a service gun trimmed down to fit a carry holster. Same tank-like build, same reputation for durability, just scaled to ride easier. Fans love that. They brag it shoots like a duty pistol that just happens to hide better. Critics mutter it's heavier than it needs to be, and that for the sticker price, you're basically hauling around bragging rights. I've seen it play out on the line plenty. Shooters who swore it was overpriced walked away frowning at their own targets. Tight groups, smooth recoil, steady as hell. And that's the bite. It's not about whether it works, it's about whether you think it's worth the ticket. And if you thought arguments about price get loud, just wait till we hit a pistol folks call the underdog that shocked them all. They call it the other Turkish pistol. Anytime this one shows up, somebody cracks the same joke. A Turkish Glock with a funny name. Canik already stole the spotlight years back, and most folks never thought SAR would step out from the shadow, but 2025 proved otherwise. I remember a buddy of mine walking into a shop looking for a beater range gun. He walked out with a SAR 9 Compact. Everyone ribbed him, laughing that he'd bought the knockoff's knockoff. Couple of weeks later, he brought it to the line. Trigger wasn't bad, recoil was softer than we figured, and that pistol ran box after box without a single hiccup. By the end of the day, the same guys who teased him were asking how much he paid, and when he told them, you could hear the silence. That's what makes it stick in conversations. It ain't got the polish or pedigree of a SIG or Glock. It sure as hell doesn't have the fan base Caniks built up, but when a pistol carries this low of a tag and still runs like a champ, people notice. And the SAR-9 Compact's been noticed plenty in 2025. There's a certain kind of pistol that splits folks right down the middle. One group brags it's the smartest buy they've ever made, smooth shooter, clean trigger, all the features the big boys charge extra for. They grin, saying it does the same job as pistols twice the price. Then you've got the other camp, and they don't mince words. Steve, I ain't bet my life on that thing, they tell you. Doesn't matter if it eats a full box without stopping or it punches tied groups on paper. For them, it'll never be more than a cut-rate copy of the real deal. I've seen both sides play out. One ran all afternoon without a hiccup, the shooter looking like he just found gold. Next lane over, another fella spent half his time clearing stoppages, muttering curses under his breath. Same pistol, same day, two completely different stories. And that right there is why the Canik TP9 Elite SC ends up in so many conversations. And if you think this debate's noisy, wait till you hear what folks are jawing about when it comes to HK's striker-fired lineup. Few pistols stir up more arguments than this little ghost right here. I've lost count of how many times I've heard the same line at the counter. 380 ain't enough, Steve. You're better off throwing rocks. Then right behind him, another fella pipes up, yeah, rocks don't hold 12 in the mag. That's the war. The 380 crowd says it's underpowered, nothing but a compromise. The folks who carry it say power don't matter if the gun's sitting back in the safe. And the LCP Max has one thing going for it nobody can deny. It vanishes. Pocket, ankle, boot, waistband. Doesn't matter. You forget it's even there until you actually need it. Sure, it bucks a little snappy for such a small frame, and no, it ain't the same punch as a 9mm, but I've seen more of these drawn in real-world situations than half the serious pistol folks brag about. It's the gun that's actually on people, and that alone makes it worth the noise. Some laugh at it, some live by it, and that's why it's one of the most talked about this year. And if you think folks argue loud about calibers, just wait till we talk about a pistol that's ugly as a stapler but won't go away. Every time this pistol comes up, folks split into two camps. On one side, you've got shooters saying it's the most comfortable striker-fired pistol they've ever gripped, and on the other, critics mutter it's just a chunkier Glock with a shinier sticker. Thing is, the PDP Compact didn't just live on marketing. Whole police departments started strapping it on. I remember talking to a deputy out west who swapped his Glock after 20 years, said the PDP's trigger felt cleaner, the grip texture locked his hands in, and when it came time to qualify, he shot tighter groups than he ever had before. That kind of endorsement ain't bought easy. But here's where the fight brews. Some shooters love that aggressive grip, swear it's like Velcro, keeps the gun planted no matter how sweaty your palms get. Others gripe it chews their hands raw after a couple of boxes. And the price sits higher than a Taurus or Canik, lower than a SIG. Folks argue both ways. Some say it's the sweet spot, others call it overhyped for the money. Either way, the PDP Compact ain't just internet noise, it's out there on belts, in cruisers, and in conversations. And if you think debates over grip textures get heated, just wait till we move to a pistol folks call a cheap Glock with a foreign name. The first thing folks bring up with the Echelon ain't how it shoots, it's whether you can even find a decent holster for it. Down at the shop, I heard one fella back, hell, you buy one of these and you'll be carrying it in a sock till somebody makes a mold. That got a laugh from the counter boys, but the point stuck. Glock and SIG, you can walk in blindfolded and trip over a dozen rigs. With the Echelon, you gotta hunt, and that rubbed a lot of carriers raw. But here's the truth. The folks who did track down the gear spent a little extra and strapped it on. They don't shut up about how much they like it. They brag about the modular guns, the easy optics cut, and how it shoots cleaner than guns that cost a good bit more. Suddenly, the same fellas who swore it wouldn't last are seeing it pop up at ranges and in IWB holsters all over. It ain't knocking Glock off its perch, that's for sure, but the damn thing ain't going away either. And if you thought holster headaches stirred debate, just wait till we get to a pistol that's so small, folks argue whether it even counts. It ain't just a pistol, it's a conversation piece the second you say where it's from. Anything stamped made in Israel gets a certain respect over here. Folks talk about duty, grit, and the kind of engineering built for fighting, not show. And if you follow the last few years of politics, you know Israel's been a hot button. Even Trump stood loud with them, which only added fuel to the pride some shooters feel strapping a Masada on. Thing is, most folks expected nothing than another discount Glock. This insult gets thrown around every time. Cheaper copy, not worth trust. But here's the surprise. It runs. The trigger's cleaner than folks expected, recoil's easy to manage, and once you actually shoot one, the laughter dies down quick. I handed mine to a buddy who swore he'd never touch an off-brand striker. First mag, he smirked. Second mag, he started nodding, and by the third, he was asking what it cost. That's the Masada's trick. Folks dismiss it till they run it, and then the debate starts all over again. And if you think that fight's loud, just wait till we step into the single most argued pistol in America right now. You can spot the divide a mile away. On one side, Glock fanboys grin like they found the Carry Holy Grail. On the other, skeptics smirk and say, why in the hell would I buy a 43X when the 19 exists? And that argument's been rolling non-stop since this pistol hit the shelves. The MOS cut just stirs it hotter. Some love it. Finally, a slim Glock that can take an optic. Others shake their heads, muttering it defeats the point of a small pistol to hang extra glass on top. I've heard both sides get louder than a honky-tonk jukebox. But here's the thing. Walk into any diner around my town, look at the belts of the folks sitting in booths, and you'll see more of these 43Xs than you'd expect. It hides easy, gives you a full grip, and carries lighter than a 19. Is it better than the original 43? Most folks say yes. More rounds, more confidence. Worst? Only if you're counting dollars, because it'll still run you Glock money for less capacity. And that is the fight. Loved, mocked, and carried more than most folks admit. And if you think the Glock arguments get loud, wait till we drag FN into the mix. This one right here, it's the internet's favorite punching bag, the Taurus G3C. I swear, you mention this gun in any Facebook group or Reddit thread, and suddenly it's a goddamn war zone. One side's yelling it's the best budget carry ever made, the other side's calling it a ticking time bomb. And you know what? That's exactly why it's on this list. It's small, it's cheap, and somehow it runs. Not perfect, but enough to piss off every gun snob who paid triple. Trigger's better than you'd expect. The grip actually fits. Sights are low rent, sure, but they get the job done. This thing doesn't flex and doesn't pretend, it just shows up. But I'll give it to you straight. Don't trust it until you run it dirty. I've seen these jam like hell when they haven't been broken in. Limp-wristed, cheap ammo, bad mag. It'll remind you why it's sub $300. So here's your warning, don't carry it just because YouTube told you to. Shoot the hell out of it first, because if it fails when it matters, you don't get a do-over. Now be honest, how many of these pistols had you shaking your head or nodding like crazy? This list wasn't about stats, it was about shockwaves, about the guns that stirred something in shooters across the world, whether that was admiration, outrage, or just straight up obsession. Some of these handguns earned their spotlight, while others might have been riding pure hype, but every single one of them got people talking, and that's what makes a pistol truly unforgettable in today's internet world. So here's your shot. Drop your pick down in the comments. Which gun really broke the internet for you this year? Which one was all bark? And which one had bite? Thanks for running this out with me. I'm Steve, and if your favorite pistol didn't make the cut, don't worry. It's probably blowing up somewhere else already. Catch you in the next one.